I kicked my wife's rude coworker out of our house. It was supposed to be a good day. My wife and I had spent months planning this gathering. Our home, our pride and joy, was finally complete, and she wanted to share it with her colleagues. I had no problem with it. I enjoy hosting, and I knew how much effort she put into making sure everything went smoothly. But there was one person on the guest list that gave me pause: Dick. She told me about him the night before. Her former boss, now her equal, had always treated her with barely veiled contempt. She had excelled in her career, moving up quickly, while he stayed stagnant. And for some reason, that rubbed him the wrong way. She wanted to invite him anyway, hoping that maybe, just maybe, things would improve. I didn't like it, but I promised her I would be on my best behavior. Then the party came, and so did he. At first, he seemed fine, cordial, even, until my wife joined the conversation. It was like a switch flipped. Suddenly, every comment he made dripped with condescension. During the house tour, he nitpicked everything. The high ceilings were pointless. The guest house was showing off. He made people uncomfortable, but my wife kept her composure. I kept my mouth shut. But then came the questions. How much did the house cost? Who paid for what? His tone wasn't one of curiosity. It was accusatory, like he couldn't believe my wife had anything to do with it. I deflected, moved on. But he didn't stop. When someone complimented the backyard design, my wife explained that we had designed it ourselves. That was when he smirked and muttered something about how discussing money was only for the elite. I felt the air shift. People went quiet, awkward. I had had enough. I told him he was being rude. He scoffed, then doubled down. He said he was just asking a simple question, but then he took it further, wondering aloud how my wife could have possibly afforded this house, heavily implying that she hadn't. That it was all me. I saw red. I told him, bluntly, that I didn't work for him, neither did my wife, and that he wasn't welcome to speak to us like that in our own home. I didn't expect him to back down, and he didn't. He made his final jab, insinuating that my wife had slept her way to the top, that she had somehow manipulated her way into a comfortable life. That was it. I don't even remember making the decision to grab him, but suddenly my hands were on his collar, shoving him toward the door. I barely heard his protests over the rush of blood in my ears. I was done with him. By the time I came back inside, the damage had been done. The party was over. My wife was upset. She told me I didn't have to defend her like that she could handle herself. She worried about work, about how things would be now. I told her I knew I had crossed a line, but I couldn't just sit there and let him talk to her like that. I didn't regret defending her, only that I had let it ruin the night. The fallout wasn't as bad as she feared. When she returned to work, her colleagues supported her. Some were even glad someone had finally put him in his place. Encouraged, she finally reported him to HR. He did the same, accusing me of assault, but since it all happened off company property, nothing came of it. The only difference was that now, she saw him for what he really was: bitter, insecure, and not worth her time. She told me later that she regretted ever inviting him. I told her I regretted letting him get under my skin. But in the end, maybe it was necessary. Maybe it was the push she needed to finally stand up to him. And as for Dick, well, let's just say he won't be getting another invitation.